OK. In the meantime, Jonathan Ashworth is here for us. Did you have a good night or a bad night last night? Good morning.
Good morning, Kate. Well, I think last night what was exposed is just how desperate Rishi Sunak has become because he lied about Labour's tax plans. What he said last night about Labour's tax plans is categorically untrue. Labour will not put up income tax, not put up national insurance, will not put up VAT. And I think what we showed last night with Rishi Sunak, or what we saw last night, was how desperate he becomes. And what desperate people do is they lie. It's what Boris Johnson did over parties in Downing Street when we were in lockdown. And Rishi Sunak last night proved himself to be no better and no different with these lies.
He said that you've got a £38.5 billion black hole over 4 years, and in order to fill that, you're going to have to increase taxes by £2,094 per household. Is that what you're referring to?
Yes, and that is a desperate lie from Rishi Sunak. It is not true. Every commitment we are making in this campaign is funded. We're explaining where every penny piece comes from. Actually, the party that have put up tax, £800 per household, is Rishi Sunak's party, giving us the highest tax burden since the war, 26 tax rises under Rishi Sunak. And actually, in this campaign, you've seen Rishi Sunak, in a scattergun, desperate, chaotic way, splurge spending commitments in this campaign. I've totted them up. They add up to £71 billion of commitments. That is based on money he cannot find and savings that will not materialise. In the end, the people who will pay more tax are working people under Rishi Sunak's plans.
So just to clarify, you're calling out the fact that he said £2,000 several times, at least 3 times that I can count off the top of my head. You're calling that out this morning as a barefaced lie?
A desperate lie, and Rishi Sunak has exposed himself as no better than Boris Johnson, who lied over parties in Downing Street in lockdown. He's exposed himself as no better and no different. He is desperate and he is lying to the British public.
Well, all I can do is ask you that question, and it will become apparent in the fullness of time whether or not that is true. But nevertheless, the Snap poll suggests that he won the debate last night.
Well, polls will come and go, but we are pleased, and we think Keir Starmer and the Labour Party leave Manchester. Well, I'm still in Manchester. The rest of my colleagues left Manchester last night. We're leaving Manchester collectively stronger because we talked about our plans to deliver 40,000 more appointments in the NHS, because we know so many of your viewers are waiting in pain and discomfort on an NHS waiting list after 14 years of the Tories. We talked about our plans to extend the dream of home ownership to young people by building more houses, about our plans to cut energy bills, because we know so many people across the country are really struggling with the Conservative cost of living crisis. So we're pleased that we're able to outline the steps that we will take to rebuild this country after 14 years of Conservative failure and decline.
So why do you think it is that, as part of this Snap poll, the view was that, on balance, your bloke, who is miles ahead in the polls, did not land any killer punches last night?
Well, look, polls are going to come and go, and there's been lots of opinion polls in this campaign. I'm not a psephologist or a pollster. I'm focused on the most important poll that matters, and that's Election Day on 4th of July.
Psephologist, I can't even spell it, let alone say it. What did you make of what was going on with Nigel Farage yesterday? He had a milkshake thrown over him. He's in a lot of the papers today. But that gets to the wider issue of safety for politicians on the campaign trail.
Well, look, it's utterly unacceptable that he was attacked when he was out campaigning yesterday. We live in a democracy. Politicians should be able to go about their campaigning, to speak to the public without fear of assault, of threats, without fear of abuse. It's totally unacceptable, and I condemn that act. The wider atmosphere for politicians is becoming ever more toxic, with all of us getting more abuse on our social media and more sort of threats coming our way. So I completely condemn that. More broadly, of course, Rishi Sunak and his spin doctors were telling us all that they were going to spend the first 2 weeks of the campaign putting the Reform Party in their box. Well, they've had the first 2 weeks, and the culmination or the conclusion of their attempts to put the Reform Party back in their box is Nigel Farage announcing he's a candidate in this general election.
Yeah, he has tried 7 times before, though, so I don't think he needs to put the cart before the horse on that one. Let's see what happens. 7 Labour councillors in Slough have resigned, calling the treatment of Diane Abbott and Faiza Shaheen racist and disapproving of the party's stance on Gaza. What are you going to do about that?
Well, Diane Abbott is a colleague and she's standing in this general election. Just on this issue of Gaza, and I was pleased last night that Keir Starmer was able to talk about this issue because it is so important. And what we're seeing in Gaza is horrific, it's horrendous. It makes me weep when I see the loss of life. Look, we need an immediate and lasting ceasefire right now. We need to get hostages out. We need to get the humanitarian aid, the UN aid, into Gaza. The large-scale Rafah offence that has been talked about cannot go ahead, and UK-made weapons should not be used. International law has to be adhered to, but fundamentally, we've got to get back to a negotiation towards a Palestinian state alongside Israel, a 2-state solution. Keir Starmer made that point last night, and the only government that will really work towards that 2-state solution with Palestinian statehood alongside Israel is a Labour government.
I know you've got to go, but a quick question before I let you go. What was it like being in the spin room last night, for once in donkey's years, being on the front foot?
Do you know what? I was looking for you, but you weren't there. If you would have been there, you were not there.
I can't be everywhere.
I know, but it's not a general election spin room if you're not there.
Well, hopefully you'll come and talk to us on general election night. Is that a promise? Yes or no? Yes, is that the word I'm looking for?
Are you going to send a camera to Leicester?
Yeah.
I'll be on.
That's a yes? You're on. Excellent.
Yeah, I'll be on there on a general election night. If you've got a camera in Leicester, I'll be on.
Excellent. Look forward to it. I'm sure I'll see you before then. Thanks very much.
You will do.